Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow the FBB Forum YouTube channel and Instagram page. I'm super stoked to welcome the beautiful IFBB Pro Figure competitor, Tessa Meetze, to the podcast. Tessa earned her pro card at the 2022 Nationals in Orlando, and took 2023 off to grow and improve her physique. She just recently won the 2024 Charlotte Cup Pro and is now heading to her first Olympia in October. Tessa also works as a nurse and lives in South Carolina. Stay tuned to find out more about her, and I think she has a very bright future in the sport. Welcome, Tessa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now, I was curious, when you started in bodybuilding, did you have an athletic or a sports background?
I rode horses competitively for years.
Mm,
Um, Ever since I could probably walk, I was on the back of a horse.
mm.
Barrel racing was kind of the main event that caught my interest. So I barrel raced for probably 10 plus years.
Really?
Um,
Wow.
I got out of that um, to go back to nursing school. So I sold like my horse and my horse trailer and all of that to be able to further my education and go back to school.
That's very cool. Wow. With the barrel racing, did you ever have any injuries or anything like that? Because I know it can be kind of risky sport.
I didn't, but the horse that I own, and I still own one of them. She actually fractured a bone in her foot. So now she's just a brood mare. Basically, she has babies
Oh,
for
very
us.
cool.
So she's living the life out in the pasture, just having babies. But I personally haven't had an injury like riding a horse, thankfully, like knock on wood. But I was on her one day and I stepped down off of her like I've done thousands of times, and I tore my ACL in my right
Oh,
knee.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was in 2018. So I've had ACL reconstruction to my right knee, and my medial meniscus also tore, but they weren't able to repair that.
Mm,
So that's something that on and off gives me trouble during prep. There are certain things that I can and can't really do.
mm,
And it's just something we monitor pretty closely.
wow,
But
that's
other than like serious horse riding injuries, no, just that, just a freak thing that happened when I got off of her one day.
oh wow, that's thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, better than being kicked by the horse, I guess. Or
Right. Yeah. I've been kicked plenty of times, but I've been thrown off and bucked off, but you always get back on.
Oh yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that you gotta watch out though.
Yeah, you get back on. That's what my parents always told me. Dust it off and get back on. You'll be fine.
Now, I was curious, how did you get started in bodybuilding, and who convinced you to do your first contest?
Well, that's funny. So I had just graduated nursing school, and I feel like nursing school was so hard on me, just mentally, physically. I feel like I probably gained a little bit of weight during that time. And that's when COVID hit.
Hmm.
So it was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. Um, Mid 2020. I was like a baby nurse, and my current coach slid into my DMs on Instagram, and he was like, "So, have you ever thought about competing?" And I
Hmm.
was like, no, not really. I never really saw myself as getting on stage in a bathing suit in front of a lot of people.
Hmm.
Because competing with a horse, you're always with the horse.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
it was kind of like I had a team, but I feel like this bodybuilding thing was like just me, myself, and I up there, which
Yeah.
it really is. Um, so he asked me if I thought about ever competing, and I said, no, not really. Why? And he was like, well, I think you'd be really good at it. And it kind of planted something in my head. I was like, well, you know, because I've seen a lot of people that I knew like having a coach and, you know, I guess progressing like in the gym and just having like a better physique and a relationship with food. So I messaged him back. I was like, well, I'd be interested in just being a lifestyle client. like, we'll do this. I want to get my body back. I want to feel better. I can finally afford to pay a coach. You know, I have a
Hmm.
job now.
Yeah.
But he ended up working with me financially as well because he was like, you know, I see some potential in you. Like, let's get going.
Yeah.
And about a year later, I stepped on stage for my first show.
Wow. That's awesome.
So at first I was, you know, I wasn't against the idea of it, but it wasn't something that I was like, yeah, I definitely want to do it, you know.
Sure. So it
But
took
I
a bit
fell in
convincing.
love. I fell in love with like the process and just the everyday, just the routine of it. Because it reminded me a lot of the days when I competed in barrel racing, because it's like a constant, like you're up, you're feeding the horses, you're taking care of them, you're drilling them, you're exercising them. Um, so for me, it was similar to that, but it
Hmm.
was myself.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that from a lot of ladies that their competitive streak with a certain sport ends and they're looking for something new, and
Yeah.
bodybuilding kind of fulfills that need.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrific. That's great that that he convinced you to do it too.
He did. He did. Yeah.
And
And the
then
rest is history.
I know that's terrific. And then so basically 2 years later you got your pro card too. So that must have been a thrill.
Yeah. That was probably my best moment because it was actually my 30th birthday when I won my pro card. So it was just a great week. Um, and being in Orlando, the weather was great. I mean, yeah, that was probably my most memorable moment as a bodybuilder.
I bet. Yeah, definitely. I definitely understand that. Yeah. Now, I was curious, do you have like a fitness role model that you look up to?
Um, I really love Sid. I just love the respect she puts on the sport, and especially figure. Um, she just seems very down to earth. I've actually used her as a posing coach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so she gets down to business. I just love her work ethic. And again, just you know, she really puts respect on the figure division.
Yeah, I agree. I got
Yeah.
to meet her in person at Triple O,
Oh,
which was
really?
that's the same weekend as Charlotte Pro, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and she is so incredible. She's so sweet and just so yeah, approachable for Ms. Olympia, just
I
amazing.
know. I just love that about her. And then I love Phil Heath. I mean, he's just I don't know, he dominated I just love just him in general and just how he presents himself and carries himself. He's just a real professional.
Yeah,
Just love
there's
it.
a new documentary on him which I haven't seen yet, but I want to
I've
see
seen
that.
it. It's really good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, he
You
is.
might
He's
shed
a
a tear or two.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it just embodies like what it takes in overcoming like a lot of obstacles, and he definitely did that.
That's great. Yeah, no, I'm gonna look up that for sure and
You
watch it.
definitely need to watch it. At least, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Put it on your top list.
Oh, yeah. Now, I was curious, you mentioned a little bit about getting up on the bikini for the first time on stage, but was it kind of nerve-wracking for you? And do you still get nervous now that you're, like at Charlotte Pro?
Um, I wouldn't say nervous. I get like anxious to get up there and showcase all the hard work. Um, I guess my mom had me doing dance. I did ballet, tap, and jazz when I was little, like all the things.
Mm,
Um, and I was really good at it, even though I was a super shy kid. But once I got on stage, like I like own the stage, you know,
mm,
like there's some kids that are just wandering around not knowing what they're doing, but I was up there just doing everything perfectly.
mm.
So I
Wow.
feel like a little bit of that kind of carried on into this. So when I get on stage, I feel like kind of at like a peace. Of course I get a little nervous, but I think it's more like anxious and just making sure that I do my routine right, my poses right. But the first time I stepped on stage, I was nervous, but I really just loved it. When I came off, I was like, wow, I really love that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, I got to thank my mom for, putting me through all the dance classes, and, I had to get on stage. So I think that helped me with the bodybuilding as well.
Now, I have to ask you this because since you mentioned dance, have you considered doing women's physique? Because they have the posing routine.
Um,
Figure is good, but figure is like a little bit more staged in terms of what
yeah.
you do.
My coach would love for me to do that.
Yeah,
But I feel like figure's just where it's at for me.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I understand. You can ditch those heels though. Those heels aren't
I
very
know.
comfortable.
I think to grow into that division, I would have to get a little bigger. And for me personally, I still want to like go back to barrel racing and all of that. I just don't see me taking the time to build and get bigger.
Yeah. Oh, so I understand. No, I think, and you're in the right spot now for sure.
Yeah,
You look
yeah,
really good for figure, I think. And
yeah. They even told me not to grow anymore. So
oh, really? Oh, I see.
yeah,
Yeah. I understand.
I was like, well, how do I do that? Because that's what we've been doing this whole time. So that's been a little bit of a challenge for me is, the feedback was, oh, well, you just need more density in your hamstrings, but don't grow anywhere else. And
Yeah.
so that's been like, okay, well, we gotta go back to the drawing board and change some things as far as training and food and all that. But
Yeah. And it's kind of baked into the word bodybuilding, so
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
it's like,
understand where they're coming from though too.
oh, I do too. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, now, well, you mentioned earlier about, winning your pro card at the nationals, but what was that experience like? And did you have a cheering section there for you? And what, I bet it was exciting.
Yeah, a few of my teammates came. My coach was there, and then my fiance was there. So that was a big deal.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to win it for my team and my coach and my family, and it was a surreal moment.
That's terrific. Yeah. And then you got your first pro win just a few weeks ago at the Charlotte Pro, and that's pretty close to where you live too. So I
Yeah,
bet, how about cheering section there? Did you have a lot of
they
people?
they showed out. I would say at least 20 people came
Mm,
because it was so close. My mom, my dad, my fiance, his mom and dad, and a lot of my athletes who I coach came. My coach was there, and just a lot of friends came. So that
mm.
was that actually made me more nervous, I think, when I stepped on stage and saw all of them out there.
Yeah,
And it made me really emotional. Like, it was hard. It was harder to focus on just like doing the job because I was like, oh my God, there's my parents, there's my athletes, they're looking at me.
yeah.
Just I was like overwhelmed with just like emotions when I looked out and saw all of them.
I bet. I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
that totally makes sense. Were they pretty vocal for you?
Oh yeah. They're
Yeah.
very loud.
So even if you couldn't see them because of the lights, you could hear them
I
coming.
I could see them. It was like the stage lights because at nationals I couldn't really see out in the stands, but
Mhm.
at Charlotte Pro I could see everyone.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. So that would be a little more intimidating, I think.
Yeah, so I'm
Mhm.
hoping the O is kind of just like where I can see the judges and not everyone else.
Yeah.
Um, but I kind of know how to handle myself if I do see everyone else out there. So yeah, I was able to see everyone.
That's terrific. Yeah, I think that could be a good or a bad, I guess.
It was good. Like once I kept my emotions to myself and tried to keep it together, but that was the
Yeah.
most difficult part of having everyone there is like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm stepping on stage and literally all my people are here.
Yeah,
It
I
was just it
understand.
just hit me in my heart.
That's sweet. That's good that they came and to support you like that.
Oh, it was, yeah. Yeah. We had a good time.
If you don't mind me asking, what part of South Carolina are you in?
Near Colombia.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's not that far to
No.
really from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we picked that show because I did want my parents to be able to come.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, obviously it was cheaper to just drive
Yeah. Oh,
versus
exactly. Yeah.
fly.
And
Yeah,
yeah, that makes life a lot easier.
it
And
was.
and
And I
so
got to bring my dog, so that was helpful.
oh, very cool. Oh, that's very cool too. Yeah.
He loved it.
I was thinking when you did win too, your cheering section probably went nuts. So they,
Oh, they did.
yeah.
My family has no chill. They are loud. They're loud.
That's so cool. Very cool. That's awesome. I think I told you I was at the Triple O when you were competing, so I wouldn't have. But I was watching the Instagram and said, "Wow, that's an amazing physique." So you did, yeah, you
Yeah,
look great.
thank you.
Now I know, like we said, this is your first O qualification. I was wondering if you're going to do another show before the O, or are you going to just get ready for the O now?
We're just gonna get ready for the big one.
Yeah, I understand.
Especially with the feedback, it's kind of like my body needs a little bit of a break, and then we're gonna try and just dial in on the hamstrings. Tyler said the conditioning was on point that I brought,
Mhm.
which I thought I could be a little, I guess, harder maybe looking, but I guess that's not what he's looking for.
Mhm.
And he said that very clear when I got off stage. And then in his recap on that weekend. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna see what we can do about the hamstrings because it's always the last thing that comes in on me.
Mhm.
Like I
Sure.
had glute striations leading up to the show, so we didn't want to be because they don't really want that in figure. Um,
Yeah. Mhm.
but it's like I think it's lack of density, just like Tyler thinks. So we're gonna try and see how much we can do in the next couple of months,
Okay.
and then just bring our best.
That's terrific. No, that's great. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good to get that judge feedback too.
yeah.
And
And then
yeah,
I've picked up so many shifts for work, so I'm not able to like take off to do another show because we thought about doing Pittsburgh and New
okay.
York and just like
Hmm.
jumping into them, but I was like, I've already picked up a lot of shifts, and I don't see me being able to like once you pick up a shift, they really frown upon you saying, "Well, I can't."
Yeah, sure. I
So
understand.
I'm pretty locked because I do like PRN work at urgent care. So I pick up shifts like a month or two in advance.
Okay.
So I know my schedule. And yeah, they probably would have been like, I'm sorry, Tessa, you put your days in, you're stuck. So
Yeah, I understand.
unfortunately, we're not going to do anymore until the O.
No, I think that's probably best for you to focus on the O too, because especially
Right.
the first one, you just
Yeah.
and no, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of egalitarian. I think, because uh you already proven as a winner, but given some of the other ladies a chance to win too. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah. Because I could see you win another show for sure. Um,
Yeah, I experience wise and like peaking me wise, I would have liked to have had just another opportunity to collect more data and just to really get my feet wet as far as getting on a pro stage again. But
yeah.
just financially and work wise and for my health, we're just gonna wait.
Oh yeah, and bodybuilding's an expensive sport too. So
It is, yeah.
having the
So
extra
that's why
dollars
I
coming
gotta
in.
I gotta go to work.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. Um, Now, I was curious if there's any advice you could provide to, up and coming ladies who are seeking to earn their pro card, because I know it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, but even kind of the mental side of things, any advice you could give?
Have a career that's gonna pay you well
Yeah.
because bodybuilding, I mean, doesn't really pay you unless you have like really good sponsors or I mean the shows they pay, but it's it's like the Charlotte Pro. I mean, it was a nice check, but it, it covers maybe your travel, especially those that have to fly in. And
Hmm.
so have a good career, put that first.
Hmm.
And then just mentally set a goal and work every single day at it, because it is hard. Um, and don't compare yourself to anyone else on stage or anyone that you think is going to compete with you. I know it's hard, especially with social media, and you'll see somebody and think, oh my God, they look so much better than me, or I'm so behind. But trust the process, trust your coach, and try not to compare yourself, which I know at the end of the day, this is a comparison game.
Hmm.
But you can only be yourself.
Hmm.
And you don't know what you're going to look like until you stand next to them.
Yeah, I understand
And
that.
make sure you train and bring in what the criteria is asking.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
if you need feedback on like what your physique is looking like, I'm sure these judges wouldn't mind you emailing them and saying, hey, this is what I look like. What's your feedback before I even step on stage? And that's where having a good coach comes in,
Mhm.
as far as directing you the correct way.
Yeah, that's true. That's really good advice.
And
Yeah.
then the next thing, have a good support system.
Yeah.
I see it so many times in the athletes that I coach, like if their home life isn't supportive, or friends or family, coworkers. I get a lot of people that struggle with being bullied at work because they're eating this or eating that, or they won't eat this, or even at home. Some people just don't understand what it takes and the discipline it takes, and that no, I can't have a bite of this, or no, I'm gonna eat my chicken and rice meal because it's people consider it diet food these days, but to me that's food.
Yeah. It's good for you.
So
Yeah.
develop a backbone when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And before you even go into a prep, make sure that you have the support at home, because if I didn't have the support that I do, from my fiance, my parents, my brother, and just people that are around me, it would have been 10 times harder.
Yeah. I totally understand that. I think that support network is very, very important in bodybuilding.
It's the
And
most important.
I talked to ladies who said they lost friends because they were like, why can't you go out and drink and party
Drink,
and,
yeah.
drink till you puke or whatever.
Yeah, no.
No, don't
You
do
can't
that.
do that and get a pro card. I mean, if you can, I would love to know how, but we really don't do a whole lot. We eat, sleep, meal prep, lift, cardio, and that's about it, especially leading up to a show. And I know it gets hard, I guess when you want to have a social life, but for me, I'm perfectly happy being a homebody, and so is my fiance. So we don't mind that part of
Yeah.
it.
I think avoiding binge drinking probably is better for your
Yeah,
longevity too.
yeah. I recommend that for anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a lifestyle that I am gonna encourage, especially being a nurse, because I've seen a lot
Yeah.
of the bad side effects from binge drinking.
Oh yeah.
We
No.
get those in the ER.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I didn't even realize that they have, medical alcohol for alcoholics that come in sometimes and you have to give it to them so they don't get the withdrawal and stuff. That's
Withdrawals.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always thought you could have like a liver of steel video series, like instead of
Any,
buns of steel.
yeah. Some people can, about with how much I see them coming in drinking and their alcohol level.
It's
Not for
amazing
me.
actually.
Not for me. Oh, and then one other thing, make sure you sleep well.
Yeah, yeah, that's important.
So if you're planning on competing and your sleep or digestion or anything like that's off,
Mhm.
you need to address that first.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I think I've heard that from other folks too, and sleep is very important. It's
Yeah,
just good for rest and recovery for sure.
100%. That's
Yeah.
how you grow.
Yeah, no, that's true, definitely.
Yeah,
Now, I was curious, do you have a prep coach?
I do.
Who are you working with?
Cory Curtis with Cobra Core, and that's the coach that I've been with from the beginning.
Oh, very cool. Is that who had convinced you to
Yes.
go into bodybuilding? Oh, very cool. That's great. And how long, so it's been the 3 years now that you've worked with him?
Since 2020.
Oh, 2020, so 4 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, very cool.
Going on 4 years. I think August will be 4 years.
Okay, very cool. And you mentioned Sid has helped you with posing, but do you have another
Yes.
posing coach, or is she primarily?
Just her. I used her in 2021. I had one session with her before my first show, and then I used her again in 2022 before nationals.
Okay, very cool. And and you mentioned coaching, so you do coaching yourself too?
Yes. So I'm under Cory with Cobra Core. And
Okay.
I have a handful of athletes. Three of them are planning on competing here soon. One of them is in California, and she is going for her figure debut. So it'll be really fun to see her get on stage for the first time.
That's exciting. Very cool.
Yes,
Do you work with like lifestyle clients too?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
The
That's
oldest
awesome.
one I have is like almost 70, and
Really?
she's lost 30 pounds
Wow.
in about 4 to 5 months, which
Wow.
for an older lady, I mean, she is doing great.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Have you seen Misty Sandeman? She's a figure competitor who I think is 70 or maybe over 70, but she looks so good.
Oh my gosh. No, I haven't seen her.
She's competed. She was at Triple O and then she was at I think Tri City also, but yeah,
Okay.
she's phenomenal.
I love that. I love seeing the older people compete. It's just so humbling, you know?
Oh, I know. It's impressive. It's like
It is. I'm
bodybuilding is
like,
the
if I can look that good at 70, I will be happy.
it's just proof that it's the fountain of youth, bodybuilding
I
is.
mean, I
Yeah.
think it is.
Now, I was curious, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of prep for you?
For me, it's juggling all the hats. Because I have, a full-time job, and then I do the coaching. Um, and then I'm also, a fiance. I have a significant other. I have a family. I don't have kids, so that I think helps with my preps. But I think it's
Mhm.
juggling all the hats and then being a nurse on top of it. It can be draining at times, as you know, the long shifts, or just like, because at the end of prep, you really feel nothing. You're just kind of like going through the motions.
Mhm.
And your patience gets really thin. So that's
Mhm.
hard for me as far as being a nurse. But
Yeah.
um, and then the cardio gets a little high for me sometimes because that's what it takes. Um,
Yeah.
so I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, just having to work a full-time job on top of prep.
Yeah. I bet that would be really challenging too. Um, but it sounds like I would, kind of prefer that though, having the job is a kind of a good thing to balance out your life too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
And
definitely need that.
and you don't have to work night shifts, so that's a good thing too.
No, so that's the plus. I gotta sleep. I sleep well, so
I can't. I know Mimi Solange is a night shift nurse, and I don't know how she does it. It just should be tough to do, I think. And
no.
yeah,
I do not like night shift. I My problem is I can't nap, so um that it just didn't work for me.
yeah, I bet
I am not a napper.
that would be tough to do, I think. Now, I was curious if there's any advice you could give to ladies who are looking for a good coach, like what they should be looking for.
You want to look for somebody who's knowledgeable, who's gonna put health first, especially as a woman. If you're competing and you're going to be enhanced, you want someone who's honest, and you want someone who works hard for you. Um,
Hmm.
and you're going to want somebody who wants to push you, you know, because there are days where you're not going to want to, especially in prep, you're not going to want to get up and do cardio and go to work and meal prep and whatever. But you just really want someone that's going to support you in all aspects, but then be honest with you at the same time. So if you're not ready to step on stage, you should hire a coach who's going to say, you're not ready. Like, I don't want to put you on there unless you're going to be the best representation of my team and then yourself.
Yeah.
I also recommend just like reaching out to current clients if
Mm.
you're inquiring about a coach, and just asking them what their experience is, you know, and just get more insight on that coach and that team before you sign up.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
good idea, actually. Good. Yeah, and that's good advice. Um, yeah, it seems like there are some certain ladies, not to be critical, but that do, kind of switch from coach to coach. But I think you end up losing out on the consistency, like you have, like you
Yeah.
mentioned, with almost 4 years with the same coach.
Yeah. So he knows me, he knows my goals, he knows what I will and will not do. He knows I want to have kids in the next couple of years. He knows I work a full-time job. So he takes all of that into consideration with me, and he's always been approachable, easy to talk to. So I would say those are two other things that you should look for in a coach. You don't want someone who tells you, no, this is the only way, or you have to do X, Y, and Z. That's a red flag to me, because there's always ways around various things, and there's always going to be other options.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. And now that I'm thinking about it, Cory was in your pictures and your videos. I think he was huge. He was like
Yeah,
5 times your size there.
he's a big guy.
Yes. Yeah, he looks like he's ready to compete. He looks good.
I feel like he's probably thinking maybe end of this year or beginning of next year.
Really. Yeah,
Yeah,
I bet he looks really good. He looks amazing.
he looks good. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, in terms of Colombia, South Carolina, do you have like a supportive bodybuilding community there? Do you have good gyms and stuff?
Um, we don't have the best of gyms.
Mhm.
There, I did just get a membership at one gym, and it's like smaller, 24/7. They don't do like day passes. So it's more intimate, I guess.
Mhm.
And the equipment is better, but we don't have, like, I wouldn't say Colombia is the best area for a bodybuilding gym. No.
Sure. Mm.
Um, I wish someone would come and open one. Like when we went to Charlotte, Fitness Factory was very bodybuilding friendly.
Mhm.
Um, we are members at one gym, Brick House. They do have a posing room, and they've got like a big turf. They got all, they've got good equipment, but they could do a little bit better as far as the quality of equipment. Um, but, and then when we went to Texas, of course, Destination Dallas blew my mind at like all the stuff that they had that we didn't have.
Yeah.
Um, and then Madhouse in Atlanta, where Sid works out at.
Yeah.
We've been there quite a few times, and it's just like night and day. At just I guess, the variety. Like we don't have that here,
Sure.
unfortunately. But
Yeah.
we make do with what we have. Um,
Sure.
I've been tempted to be just like, okay, I'm going to open my own gym.
Uh-huh.
I don't think Colombia's as big of an area. And I don't know if bodybuilding just isn't as popular maybe yet. Um,
Yeah.
but I think it'll get there eventually. Um, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that somebody just opens a bodybuilding gym somewhere close to here and that actually listens to like what bodybuilders want.
Sure.
But we'll see.
Yeah, maybe like a USC guy that went on to be the NFL, and he comes back and he wants a bodybuilder.
Something, you know.
Yeah. I was thinking with being a college town and probably the USC gym there probably is got a lot of
Um,
CB fans and
yeah,
stuff.
Brick House is the one that's closest to the campus. It's nice. It's just like they won't bring in a Smith machine. There's a few things that they won't really listen to the members about,
Mm,
which I get it. It's their gym,
yeah,
but
I understand.
the one we just got a membership at Metro, they have really good equipment, and like I said, it's smaller, it's more intimate. So I'm excited to be training there.
That's great. Very cool. Now, your fiance Walter, is he a bodybuilder too?
Yeah, so he did his first show last year. Um, and he plans to grow a little bit more. So we're thinking uh probably mid next year for him,
Oh, wow, that's cool.
just so he adds on some really good size because those classic guys are huge. I mean, and they look great. So he
Yeah.
just needs a little bit more muscle maturity and more time. But
And
he has a great shape, and I think if we can add at least 5 or 10 more pounds onto him by mid of next year, like he's gonna do really well.
that's terrific. He
Or
does
I
classic.
think so. But I could be biased, you know. But he just has that classic shape. Like he's got the big legs, he's got the wide back, um,
Yeah.
he's got the tiny waist, big nice calves. So he's not like missing huge parts. He just needs more chest and more arms, which I mean, most guys are missing legs. So I feel
Yeah.
like he has the advantage of having the nice big legs and glutes. So we'll see. I'm excited for him.
So he does classic physique, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. That's great. Yeah. I was thinking like CBum has like, just catapulted that division
Oh,
into
I know.
stratosphere. It's just amazing how popular he is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have y'all got to meet him or no?
No.
No? Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, probably so.
I'm
I bet you
excited
will.
to meet like everyone. Like I just want to meet like Nick Wall, like just all the big guys. Like I'm probably more excited to watch Mr. Olympia than like to compete because we've always wanted to go. But it'll be really surreal to just be able to compete and watch all these people that we look up to.
Oh, and you'll be at the meet and greet too, so the fans can
Yes,
meet you too.
yes,
That'll be cool too, because that's a
yeah.
cool experience too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. I'm super excited.
Um, Now, in terms of working as a nurse, so you said you worked since 2020 and you do ER as your specialty, but
ER,
um,
yeah, and then urgent care.
but those are tough. I mean, I just think they would be really stressful. And the
They
fact you
are.
entered in 2020 in the profession during COVID when it was the craziest, that must have been challenging, but it was probably easier like when the pandemic kind of started fading away, too.
Yeah, it was tough being a new nurse and seeing all of that.
Yeah.
Because of course in the ER that's where they come in initially. So I was kind of thrown into it and just like, good luck, here we go, you know.
Yeah.
But it definitely paid off in the end and it made me I guess just tougher,
Yeah. I understand.
able to handle the pressure.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. And just make the rest of medicine seem relatively easy, I would think.
Easy, yeah.
Did you have to wear all the PPE and just be
Yeah.
up? Yeah, I bet. That was kind of challenging too, I
Oh yeah. Yeah.
bet.
Is I have a PTSD from all of that.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Now, I was curious, you mentioned your mom, but what do your parents think of your bodybuilding efforts? Are they supportive?
They are. They are.
Good.
Even though they would never diet or do what I do, they're very supportive. And my mom has always been supportive with anything I want to do. Literally, she's probably the reason that I believe that I could do anything I set my mind to,
Hmm.
because she has always told me that.
Great. Yeah.
And she supported the horse stuff for years. And she went without so that I could have the horses, because that's not a cheap sport either.
Yeah.
Um, and then my dad, he'll go to the gym with us and hype me up. And um, so they're both very supportive.
That's terrific. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've talked to some ladies whose parents aren't supportive,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's kind
I
of
feel like that
devastating,
would
I
be
think.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because yeah, that just to have that extra support from your folks, and that they appreciate what you're doing, I think is really,
They do. They do.
that makes,
Realize it's hard. My dad will still be like, "Are you sure you can't eat?" Or my mom will be like, "You want to go out to eat?" And it's just like, y'all know this by now. Like, I can't.
yeah.
Uh,
Or you could just bring your food with them or with you
yeah,
to the restaurant. Yeah.
I hate doing that. I really do. That's one I've done that a lot. Um, I'll do it if I have to.
Yeah.
I
It's
just
kind of
hate
awkward, I bet.
it. It is,
The waitress like looking at you like, why aren't you ordering?
especially when you do order something and you have to say none of this, none of that, plain, steamed, on the side. I feel like people get aggravated when you do that, but
Yeah.
I don't mind doing it. I go and if I can order something off the menu, I definitely, you know, I tell the waitress what I need, and they might get annoyed, but in the end, it's what I need and what I need for my goals, so I do it.
Yeah, I understand, but I can see where that could be, that'd be awkward too for you.
It is,
Yeah.
but I'm used to it.
Now, I was curious, when you're out in public, do you like to show off your muscles and stuff, or do you prefer to be covered up?
Well, at work, I always get um, comments. A lot of people ask me if I'm a runner, which I'm like,
Hmm.
no, I don't run. That's the last thing I do. Um, or they'll see like, my veins and they're like, oh, you must work out or something. Um, I don't really show them off, I guess per se, just I do have people stop and ask, or you'll have people staring. Um, especially when you're lean. It's really like when I'm not lean, I feel like I look like a normal human. Um,
Yeah.
but we were at Disney World after nationals,
Yeah.
and I was wearing shorts and like a tank top or something.
Oh,
And
wow.
this one little girl was like, "Look, mommy, that girl has muscles." And I was like, "Okay, my entire week is made, you know?" Um,
That's cute. Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
yeah, you'll get weird looks or comments sometimes. But I'm used
Would,
to it.
would you say most of the comments are positive? Or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
people are like, "What do you eat?"
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
I get a lot of that at work because I pick up at a lot of different locations for urgent care.
Hmm.
And I'll get, so what are you eating today? Is it the same thing that you always eat? Or,
Mm.
um, I don't know. Or can you not eat anything? And it's just like, yes, I can eat stuff. Um, but so, you'll have the good and the bad.
Yeah. Are your coworkers pretty supportive, would you say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were all super excited for me. And actually, the one place that I went to as a travel nurse, they were watching me live when I did when I won my pro card. So they
Oh,
had
yeah.
me like pulled up in the ER, and they were messaging me, they were cheering me on. So that was really cool. Um,
Oh, that's
and they
terrific.
always message me and check up on me, and so yeah, I feel like they're all supportive.
That's terrific. That's really cool to have that support too.
It is, because you spend all your days with them. So,
Yeah, definitely. Um, I was curious if you were, this is hypothetical, but if you're in a leadership position with IFBB, what would you do to improve the sport of bodybuilding, and how would you try to make the sport better?
um, I would probably try and make the payout even for all divisions.
Hmm.
I understand that Mr. Olympia does need or maybe deserves a little more because I do get the popularity of it.
Yeah.
But I don't think the other divisions should be paid more than the other. Um,
Hmm.
I think if a sponsor comes on and wants to sponsor a show, it should be evenly distributed.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I would also pay out like local shows. So I think the NPC could even start paying, the amateurs, because that's where it starts, and it's still expensive as an amateur.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think even if it's a couple $100 to win the overall, I think that would be amazing. Um,
Hmm.
just to pay back some of what we put in because it's not only the show cost, it's the prep cost, it's the coach cost, the posing cost. For ladies, it's the suit, the hair, the makeup. We spend so much money that I think we should get reimbursed financially somehow for doing
Yeah,
such a good job. Um, so that's one thing that I would change.
I agree with you on that. I like the idea of paying the amateurs too, or at least smaller amount.
Yeah,
Even they have the NIL deals with the college athletes now, and yeah, no, I think that's a great idea.
yeah,
And yeah, I think more equity in the prize money would be really good. As a fan of the women and stuff, I just think y'all always kind of get short end of the stick for sure when it comes to
yeah,
the
yeah,
money.
100%.
Yeah.
And then I would have Arnold bring back all of the women divisions.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah,
don't think
totally.
that should be allowed to exclude divisions.
Yes, I agree with you. Because that's supposed to be like a tier one or tier two show, and you
Yeah,
exclude half the divisions. It's like,
I mean, it would be an honor to compete at the Arnold, but when you cut out the majority of the women divisions, I mean, it's really a slap in the face.
yeah, I agree with you on that. And yeah, I was surprised when they did start cutting the divisions like that. So, um, now I was curious, do you ever kind of find yourself the target of like fit shaming? Because I was surprised that y'all ladies even have to deal with that, because
Oh
they
yeah,
should
I
be.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Um, how do I what?
How do you deal with that?
Um, I really think it's funny because as a nurse, like I want to be healthy. And like I said earlier, I don't I don't view chicken and rice as a diet. I don't view eating vegetables as a diet. I view that as caring about my life and longevity. So when people make comments about my food or working out or, oh, can't you just eat this? And it's like, I can, but I don't really want to. Or for the most part, I let it roll off my back. I will say the mean comments about me looking like a man, which have been on some of my reels, or using all these steroids, those can be hurtful.
Yeah.
More than the, oh, you're on a diet all the time. Like the shaming, I kind of let it roll off my back. But um, I know we all probably get the comments of, oh, she looks like a man, or oh, she's using all these steroids to look like that. Um, those tend to be more hurtful.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
I really just sit back and think of who it's coming from, and it's probably some troll on social media that has no life. And
Mhm.
I kind of feel sorry for these people at the end of the day because
Yeah.
I would never go out of my way to make someone else feel bad about themselves.
Yeah, I agree
You
with you on
know,
that. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And there, yeah, I think there's always some little mental health issues kind of wrapped up with some of those folks
Yeah.
and isolation and stuff, but it still doesn't make it right for them to be so
No.
mean, you know. Yeah. Now I was curious, I just have one more question for you in terms of keeping up with the demands of social media. Do you ever find that kind of tough to do? And, do you get a lot of DMs and messages or comments on your posts and that kind of thing?
Yes, that's one thing I probably struggle with is content and trying to put that out between, working full time and then um it's just something that I don't think of all the time. I like to just go into the gym and just lift or, I don't like to have to think about, oh, well, I need to film this whole thing. We kind of just go in there and work, but my fiance's done better about like, okay, Tessa, let's get some content, because it is such a huge part of the sport and kind of getting figure out there is something else that I would love to do. And I think just showing that it's still feminine and that it is a beautiful division, that's something that I want to work on from now until the Olympia,
Okay.
especially just to promote our division a little more.
Sure. Yeah, like I said, I like the show vlog that you did. I thought those
Yeah, he
videos were
did a
really
really
good.
good job with that. So I'm thankful he was able to just take the time and because he works a full-time job too. So I know the content's a little late coming out, but we're getting it all out there eventually.
That's cool. Yeah, I think that's great. And I just want to say, folks who think you look like a man need to get their eyes checked because you look really very feminine, I think. So
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
That's crazy. Oh man. So as we wrap up, is there anything that I missed that you'd like to say or any shout outs to anybody?
I think you had great questions.
Thank you.
But I want to thank you for, having me on here. And then just want to thank my family, friends, and my fiance and my coach and my team. Um, they pushed me and every day I just want to be better for them, whether it's as a nurse, an athlete, a coach, a fiance. I just strive to be better every day, so that's something that I think everyone should take away from this is just focus on you. And in this sport, it's really you versus you. It's not you versus who beat you last year or who, it doesn't matter. It's a sport that you get better the more you do it. So practice
Yeah,
just being the best that you can every single day.
I agree with you on that. That's really good advice too. Yeah. And would you mind doing a quick flex for me?
Oh yeah, I might bust out of this shirt.
All right. Oh yeah, looking good. Yeah, thank you.
And HD Muscle. I want to thank them, Pivot, Pancakes, and we love Jack Jeans. We love their clothing. And of course, HD Muscle's been um, really good for me so far. Um, and I think that's everyone. Oh, and Angel Competition Bikinis. They they've really gotten me right the past two shows, and I'm super excited. I just got off the phone with Savannah, and we planned my Olympia suit already.
Oh wow, that's
So
exciting.
yes,
That's very cool. You have to do a sneak preview on that.
yes. And then I did just sign with Long Life Meal Prep, so they're gonna be getting me some food. So hopefully that'll save me on prepping because as you know that takes a lot of time. So I'm super excited to show y'all what they send me and put some reviews out there.
That's terrific. It's good that you
Yeah.
got some sponsors
Yes.
lined up like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that they're lifesavers.
The Angel competition bikinis you mentioned, are they a suit sponsor for you?
Yes.
Oh wow, because I know
And
that's
I've
a
worked
huge expense.
yes. So I love them and they've been super helpful because I know nothing about like any of this.
Mhm.
And I basically tell them what I want and they make it happen. I've used them this entire time that I've been bodybuilding. So, and I love their posing suits too. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited to see what she comes up with for the
Yeah, your suit for Charlotte was really good. It looked
yeah.
good. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Tessa. And like I said, I'll get this posted soon, and I'll include some of the folks we talked about in the links down below. But thanks again for your time.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take
Take
care.
care.